Yeah, I don't give a shit. I really don't care who he signs. All I care, although they're doing some sort of press conference right now as we're recording this, don't give a fuck. So, I don't like all of this KSI, Jake Paul nonsense.
And then test my
You'd never shit, would you?
Well...
Okay, guys, welcome back to Fighters Talk TV. We're with good pal Max. How you doing, fella?
Yeah, I'm all good, Andy. How about you?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. How does it feel being back at home and not here?
Oh, mate, I wish I was back at yours.
Well, it was great to have you in the studio. Let's do
a pleasure being there.
I'll tell you what, there's been some real events going on this week in boxing news, and I thought, I normally lead it, so I'm not going to lead it this time. You're going to lead it. You're going to tell me. Let's go. What's the latest boxing news?
Well, let's start off with Canelo and Bibble on the rematch.
Yep,
right.
So we'll start with that one then. So obviously Canelo now, after he's beat John Ryder, wants the rematch with Bibble, doesn't he? Dimitri Bibble. Yeah. But Canelo wants it at Bibble's weight level, 175, and Bibble's saying he wants it 165. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I was thinking, like, who gets to determine what weight they fight at? Does Canelo do it because he's holding all the cards at the moment, or does Bibble, since he beat him last time?
Well, you see, now my argument would be, I would say Bibble holds the cards. Let me tell you why. Now, right. What Bibble's saying is I want to fight you at your own weight level, okay? I'm going to drop down a weight level. I'm going to fight you at the weight that you should, because I can beat you. I've proved to the world I can beat you. You can't beat me. All right, you want to fight me, you want to get this back, you got to put something on the line, because there's no benefit for Dimitri Bibble to fight Canelo Alvarez other than perhaps for a financial one. So let's look at it this way. So Dimitri Bibble fights Canelo Alvarez at 175 and Alvarez avenges his loss. What does Bibble get out of it?
He don't get nothing out of it apart from another win. But like you're saying, if he takes it down to a 168 and beats Canelo, he gets all the belts. So I think for Bibble, it's a win-win situation, but for Canelo at that weight, it's a win or hang your gloves up.
Well, I think he's got, like we've said before, he's got nothing to prove in the sport. He's done everything that anyone's ever asked of him. He's been a Mexican champion. He's been a great world champion. Really has.
And also he's been entered in the world's Guinness records. So that's an achievement on its own as well, I think.
Well, that's it. And I just think it's, Well,
also, you've got, I've been hearing Spencer is warning Canelo, stay away from Bibble and but face, is it Benavides?
Are we talking Spencer Oliver? I think so. Oh, okay.
I'll have to look into that. I'm sure it is, but he's warned him to stay away and fight someone else, basically. So other boxers noticing Canelo isn't top draw anymore. Is he past his time?
Well, I tell you what, there was a few fans booing at the fight of the weekend, wasn't there? I mean, that much. Yeah,
I say that, and it weren't till like sort of the last round sort of thing. But I think that was a bit disrespectful, considering you got the two best boxers toe to toe that night.
I don't know if you could consider John Ryder the best, but I think he's certainly up there as the interim champion. I just think.
I think he's definitely up there, like you're saying. He had his nose broken in the 5th round, then it went another 7 rounds, not able to breathe, and didn't get knocked out, and he stepped up.
Yeah, I mean, it does make you wonder if he was able to breathe, his nose wasn't broken, and what more could have happened. Because I think, I did see Canelo at the end on the post press conference looking a bit like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, who had been punched up a bit, but it does make you wonder.
Well, both of them sort of had their face punched in. Just let Ryder come off worse.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so moving on. I'm going to throw a subject out there now.
Got to just mention one other thing for Canelo.
Oh, go on.
Right, Canelo and Badou Jack.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. So Canelo's talking about going up to, is it light heavy now?
£200.
£200. Oh, cruiserweight. So he's talking about going to cruiserweight to fight Badou Jack. Do you know what?
Take his belt, make more history. What do you reckon on that one?
I think he's... is he trying to Manny Pacquiao 8 different weight division world titles? Listen, do I think he could beat Badou Jack? Yeah, Badou Jack is at the end of his career, and Canelo knows that, right?
Yeah.
Badou Jack got a good win in his last trip out, which obviously gave him that world title. Right. But do we believe that Canelo is good enough to beat Badou Jack? The answer very simply is yes. Yeah, I do think he is good enough to beat Badou Jack and to make history. However, I do think he needs to settle this personal demon with Dimitri Bivol first. I really do. I think that he cannot look past Bivol because he's already beat him once. Yes,
that's right. But whether Badou Jack is past it, an old timer, it's still a belt he hasn't got, and he should go after it.
Yeah, the thing I would say about belts is there's so many of them. We have this discussion before, but Badou Jack, I think he can beat Badou Jack, but I don't know whether Badou Jack will be too big for him, but I don't think so. I mean, well, I don't know. You're jumping up 35 pounds. It's a lot of weight to gain. It's a lot of weight to gain, and it's a lot of power to stop. Do you know what I mean? So, I would concentrate more on Dimitri Bivol. I think the money fight is there. I don't necessarily think the money fight is in the Badou Jack fight. I think there's people probably queuing up to take on Badou Jack because they all think they're going to be able to beat him. But I don't think it should be. I think it's a non-starter really for Canelo.
Yeah, regardless of whether the Badou Jack's the money fight, it's the belt fight. That's where it comes down to.
But the thing is, what would be the purpose? I mean, you've got a guy jumping up 35 pounds in weight. That's an awful lot of weight in this business. An awful lot of weight in this business. I mean, people go, well, it was all right for Pacquiao to do it. Pacquiao did it over a long time, and he was starting from a very lightweight, and he was just getting better and better and better, stronger and stronger in his own body. Now, Canelo isn't going to get any stronger. No. He's going to get heavier, but he's not necessarily going to get any stronger. And of course, he's got knockout power, and everyone's got two fists, and we've said it all before. But should he fight him? No. I mean, whether it's for the belt or not, I don't think so. I don't think that's something other than financial that Badou Jack could be interested in. But there's plenty of other fights at cruiserweight that he could have.
Yeah, but I think for Badou Jack, if he did fight Canelo, that is a super payday for him.
Potentially it is. I mean, and he would probably fancy the fight, given up the fact that Canelo has to go, certainly put on a bit of poundage.
Yeah, and obviously, like you're saying, putting on 35 pound of weight is going to slow him down.
It's going to slow anyone down, isn't it? So
yeah, I know how I feel when I put on weight.
Yeah. I feel terrible myself. Anyway, let's move on. So I want to bring up a subject now. Billy Joe Saunders says he's going to step out and return back to boxing, and he could fight Chris Eubank Jr. And that was by TalkSport. Now, that would be the fight I would love to see him in. I really would, because I think that Chris Eubank Jr. is probably the only fight he's realistically got. He's been out of the ring 2 years. Obviously, since he lost to Canelo.
We were saying about this the other day. It's going like, where is he? Where's he been for the last 2 years? And all of a sudden, he's popped back up.
Well, do you know what? I think who else can he fight? I want Liam Smith. Liam Smith, we know, has just got injured, so the postponement of the fight between him and Chris Eubank Jr. I cannot see anyone else out there for Billy Joe Saunders that's going to make him a payday other than Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah. So you wouldn't recommend Saunders coming back in and rocking it out with Canelo again?
No. No one wants to see that fight. Billy Joe Saunders been out of the ring for 2 years. It would just be a slaughter.
Yeah. Yeah. Throw the lambs to the slaughter, isn't it?
Yeah, that would just a complete waste of time. Absolutely no point. No point in that fight at all. There is other opportunities for him in that sort of weight division. But to me, I still think that the Billy Joe Saunders, Chris Eubank Jr. fight is the only fight for him, really. I can't see him making
it quite a tasty fight, wouldn't it?
It would, but one thing I'll tell you about. Let me talk about Billy Joe Saunders a minute. Billy Joe Saunders, to me, does not have devastating knockout power. He's got knockout power, okay?
Yeah.
And he's a fantastic boxer. Do I think he's the better boxer from him and Chris Eubank Jr.? Absolutely, no question. But I don't think he has the power. And I think in the last fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Billy Joe Saunders, and when Billy Joe got the he got the nod in terms of the judges, I think that Chris Eubank Jr. took him too lightly. I just think he wasn't devastating enough. We've seen Chris Eubank Jr. be absolutely mauling. I think he needs to go back to that thing. I think he needs to do the same if he ever steps back into the ring with Liam Smith. It depends on how Chris Eubank Jr. because he's a machine. He really is a machine. And I just think that if you're going to beat a Billy Joe Saunders, you cannot box this man, because let me tell you something, Chris Eubank Jr., and if you are listening to the show, thank you very much, but I'm telling you something, he will outbox you. You've got to outfight him as Liam Smith would do. If Liam Smith was to face Billy Joe Saunders, I think that would be a boring fight. And let me tell you why. Because the styles, I don't believe, would match.
No. That's it. I agree with you on that one.
I don't. Do I think that one of them could knock anyone out? Of course can. Of course. Yeah. But I don't think that
before, when it takes that one punch, and that's it. It's game over. Don't matter who you are, whether you've got the power or the technique. Just takes one on the chin, and it's game over. Or body shot.
Exactly.
Yes.
But so anyway, so that's my two pennies worth. Billy Joe Saunders sign a fight to fight Chris Eubank Jr. Win, lose or draw after the Liam Smith fight, if that fight now goes ahead. Okay, what's next for you?
Right, I've got Shakur Stevenson.
Shakur Stevenson.
He wants to rock it out with Tank, as he says. It's an easy money fight, and Shakur is actually giving it large to Tank. Quote, "Come and shut me up." How about that one?
Well, do you know what? I think this is about the belts. I think it's nothing more than about the belts. I was watching the Shakur Stevens fight. I was just on, we won't mention their names, something sports. I was just watching that where he stopped a Japanese fighter in 5 rounds, whatnot. And I just, sorry, not 5 rounds, 6, 7 rounds. I don't know. Is it a fight I'd want to see? I don't know.
Well, also I've got here Devin Haney saying Tank can't be the face of boxing because he can't even fill up a stadium.
I totally agree with him. Devin Haney's the guy that Tank needs to fight. That's the next. He can't. And listen, who was the A side on the last fight between Tank and Garcia? It was Garcia.
Yeah, he's one who brought in over 1 million views. If you look back at Tank's viewings, they're like 200,000, 400,000 at the most. But when he fought Ryan, that went boom, well over 1 million, 1.4, I think, or something like that in the end, wasn't it? The can.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
So this goes to show Tank ain't the face of boxing. He ain't pulling in the crowds.
Well, that's it. I don't know. I think the Devin Haney fight's the only thing Tank's got to go for, really, and that's what I want to say. They're all going to start calling one another out because it's all about payday. It realistically is, and I think if you're Garcia, you're going to want to get back in the mix just to, try and get through a training camp, not get injured, and right or wrong. Essentially, that'll be the Tank fight. I wouldn't want to see Garcia in with Haney just yet. I think it's too soon, but I would like to think that a fully fit Ryan Garcia would give a better account of himself.
And take out your rehydration clause.
Yeah, that's just a nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. I hate that shit. I really do. I mean,
you can clearly see like the boxers are actually drained come the fight night. You know what I mean? They're not their normal selves, if you know what I mean.
Well, do you know what?
I think Ryan looked weak. You know what I mean? That's what I thought. I think he looked weak for his fight.
I don't know if he looked weak. I just think that he wasn't the fighter I expected, and it was clear that he knew because Tank was obviously gone on public social media just to sort of say that He knew that he was injured, so he took advantage of that. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing. Now, Deontay Wilder has been another heavyweight has vowed to knock him out, other than Anthony Joshua and the rest of it, and it's none other than Huey Fury.
Brilliant! I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to.
So I was looking at this and I was thinking, is he off his head? I mean, I know we're doing a new show called No Fucks Given, right? And quite literally, obviously, Huey Fury doesn't give a fuck. Listen.
No, we don't.
I'm going to put something out there. Huey Fury isn't in the top 10 heavyweights. Huey Fury doesn't deserve to share a ring with Deontay Wilder just yet. I think Huey Fury, you've got to go through, let's go through Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce, Dillian Whyte, Derek Chisora. Until you've beaten these guys, don't even talk about him. Don't even talk about him. I mean, everybody's got ambition. There's nothing wrong with that.
Largely saying he'll bash up Wilder and AJ. You know, is he? I don't think he's. You know, he must be drunk when he said that. I don't know.
Well, listen, he's got two hands, right? I mean, he has lost a couple of. He was fighting world-class opposition. I can't remember who it was. I'll have to do a bit of digging.
I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this, but I'm sure one of them was Joe Parker or Joseph Parker.
Yeah, I think it was, and I think he lost. But there's no way, you know, that. Joseph Parker, that's right, Kubrat Pulev and Alexander Povetkin. Listen, I'm not saying that it's an impossibility, okay, but it will be a complete mismatch. Okay, but, you know, I like Huey Fury. You don't see him on sort of getting a bit sort of cheeky and what the rest of it. I do like Huey Fury, and I think that I would like to see him up there, but I'd like to see him more at a domestic level. You know, you've got a few people that he can go through before you're going to start tackling the top 10. Is he top 15, top 20? Maybe. There's an argument.
Yeah, maybe in the top 20, but nowhere near in the top 10 or 5. No way. He's now.
And what money, other than with the surname, as obviously we talked about the Tommy Fury and fights before, what other purpose is there for the fight? I mean, there is absolutely no. There's nothing for Deontay Wilder in that fight. Nothing. Nothing for Anthony Joshua in that fight. Literally nothing. Not even money.
Listen, with the Fury name, there's only one who's out there, and that's Tyson. And we see that when Tommy got in the ring with a YouTuber and barely. Me personally, I don't even think he won that fight. I thought Jake Paul's all over him.
No, I think the right decision was made. I definitely think the right decision was made. I think that Tommy Fury won that fight, and it did mean an awful lot to him. But he did not win it convincingly. I'll be fairly honest about that. He didn't, but I thought he won it.
He's a fighting man. He comes from a fighting family, and he struggled with a YouTuber who's only been boxing probably 2 years.
Yeah, but I come from a fighting family. My brother's a cage fighter. I was a boxer, and I couldn't stand head to toe with lightweights, let alone anyone else. It doesn't mean just because you come there. But my whole point is that I just think it's just, you know, that's something that's never going to happen. It's just Huey Fury making noises. I think there's plenty of other opposition for him to go to first before he starts going down that road. You know, I think he's promoted by Queensbury. You've got lots of fights there. I would just sit there and say, listen, you're not ready for this yet, son. You've got a lot of domestic level fights to get through before you even think that you got to start knocking people off their crown and knocking their crown off their head. And son, you're not even close at the moment. So I'd like to see him get up there. I mean, what I'd love to see is a Fury 3 try some kill off or something, you know. But you can't. Do you know what I mean? There's no way that this guy is even ready and in the same caliber as them. So, your next bit of news, what are we going to talk about next?
Right, Joe Joyce is activating his rematch clause against Zane.
Oh, yeah. Well, Zane is another character that you could argue Huey Fury fight before he gets anywhere near the top.
Yes.
Well,
I mean, is that a fight you want to watch?
Well, being a Brit, I'd like to think that we could see Joe Joyce regain his crown, if you like. Yeah, could see that.
But can you see him regaining it?
Not the way he did it, no. If he don't learn to move his head, it could be it could be pretty nasty.
You know, only so many punches you can take before it stops you, as it was. It stopped.
I think the thing that you need to sort of say in this particular argument is that at the end of the day, Joe Joyce got humbled. He really did, but he never got put down.
No.
Which would argue the geezer's got a chin like a block of iron. Now the problem is, it's not. You don't have to convince me. You have to convince the judge, right? So
yeah, we ain't judging it.
Yeah, we're fight fans, right? We ain't judging it. We want someone to get knocked the fuck out. That's what we watch heavyweight boxing for, right? Boom!
Listen, that's what I watch boxing for. I want to see the teeth knocking out and the blood and the broken noses and that. That's what boxing's about. The skill of the fighter.
Well, I just think, it'll be what it'll be. Right, okay, so I'm going to move on now. The fact, Jake Paul, Nate Diaz, I don't give a shit about that fight, so I don't even want to talk about it. Although they're doing some sort of press conference right now as we're recording this, don't give a fuck. So, I don't like all of this KSI, Jake Paul nonsense. I will give Jake Paul a bit of credit for the Tommy Fury thing, but that's where it stops, okay? And if Jake don't like that, I'll fight him.
Have you heard about Eddie Hearn's new signing to Matchroom?
What, the Mexican Eduardo Nunes?
No, Andy Cruz.
Oh, yeah, but they always sign 1,000,001 different fighters, doesn't it? So I worry about.
Cruz was headhunted by other promotions, but wanted to go with Matchroom. And as Eddie Hearn said, he wasn't offering him the biggest deal. But he wanted to join Matchroom, as he knows Eddie's a brilliant promoter.
Yeah, but they'll all go where it is, and I mean, listen, they're good fighters. That's why they have them on their books. It's every fight company out there, every promotional company is going to want world championship contenders because it makes them money. So boxing's about money. It's about politics. It's all about the dollars. That's all that matters. So yeah, I don't give a shit. I really don't care who he signs. All I care about, you put the left glove on, the right glove on, get in that fucking ring, and let's see a tear up. That's it. Right, I'll tell you what, I'm moving on to the next one. Johnny Nelson, he tells Conor Benn, take the ban and move on. For fuck's sake, I'm sick of hearing it. I have to agree with him. For fuck's sake. Just get it done.
Sorry, this is coming in then. Did you hear Nigel Benn's comments about Conor saying, he's handling it wrong and that, but what's his mental state? You know what I mean? Well, what's that got to come into it? You've got, tested, you failed twice. What's your mental state coming into it for? You just got to put your hands up. I fucked up somewhere along the line. Let's get over it and let's move forward. That's the attitude you should have.
Yeah, the argument is that Conor Benn fought under the British Boxing Board of Control. Okay, so the British Boxing Board of Control only recognises UKAD, UK anti-doping, right? Now they signed up to a voluntary platform, VADA, okay, the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, and he failed twice, and possibly more. And he had a trace element of something, which means he's not really taken it to get a competitive advantage, but it's still in his system. Now, the problem is...
Do you believe he got it from the eggs, though?
Listen, I mean...
I'll tell you what, I might even do it myself. I might actually eat 100 eggs a week for a month and then test myself.
You'd never shit, would you?
Well, I might do it. This is to prove a point. Is it in the system or not?
Listen, I really, really don't know. And furthermore, the more this carries on, the less I care. I love Conor Benn. I think he's a great fighter. He's not going to be the only person who's found trace substances in their system. Gerald Miller, Tyson Fury, I think Billy Joe Saunders, although I could be wrong, so I want to put a caveat, but Tyson Fury, definitely. Amir Khan.
2 years after his fight with Kell Brook, it's come out, he tested positive.
Yeah. So, he's not going to be the first. He's certainly not going to be the last. And,
no way.
It's just something. If he's going to get a ban, he's going to get a ban, isn't he? I mean, that's just as broad as it is long. But anyway, so I'm going to finish up actually on the next point, and it's a very sad point actually for us now. Heavyweight boxing has a real true legend. There's quite a few of them in the sport. There's very few of them that can say they've shared a ring with Muhammad Ali, been world champion. There's very few that can do that.
And I know where you go with this.
I know, it's brought a big shadow over, but in the last sort of 25, 30 minutes, a third woman's come forward and filed a lawsuit against George Foreman. And this is sort of, there's 3 of them now that are claiming sort of sexual misconduct and all sorts of things.
I've heard that a couple of the women who have come forward before, the one you just spoke about, were actually underage. Well, you know, which is it's bad in the allegation anyway, but being underage is even fucking worse. You know, and it's put a, you know, it's disgraceful for the boxing world, I think.
Well, this is if it's true. You know, everyone's presumed innocent until it's truth, and this is another one. This is another girl. That's why I'm saying it's a leg. Yeah, this is another girl who was 15 years old in the 70s. Now, it just so happens that, you know, you've got his movie coming out, right? You know, Foreman, Big George Foreman. I mean, you've got that, and he is suing, you know, the other woman, because he's actually saying the woman asked for 12 million to prevent her from going public with her claims. So, you know, what the hell is going on in the world today? I mean, there's always
did he
people.
Pay that?
No, he didn't.
Right.
No, he didn't. So, anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Very sad news towards the end of it. Thanks very much for joining the Fighters Talk TV. This is called No Fucks Given. Access all areas. We really don't care what your opinion is. Well, we do, really. Hit us up in the comments below. Tell us what you think. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And both Max and myself will be back again next week with some more No Fucks Given. Take care, guys. We'll catch you on the next show.